Today, I'm going to tell you some secrets about my husband, Chris. My husband has both ADHD and autism, which can make life pretty interesting. So today I want to tell you about some things he does that are both hilarious and a little bit ridiculous at times. One thing Chris does that makes me laugh every time is he leaves randomly in the middle of conversations. So the conversation for sure is not finished, and he will just walk away. If he's not interested, sometimes mid-sentence, he's just gone all of a sudden. So this makes me laugh every time because I know that it's part of having both ADHD and autism, that his brain is always on the move. But also, now that we know he has autism, it's kind of like he has slightly different set of social rules, and we understand that that's just something that comes with the territory. Chris will repeat random phrases just because he likes the sound of them, but they don't actually carry any meaning. So one example is that he says, "I am shy." But he's not saying it because he's actually feeling shy. It can be because he just likes how it sounds at that particular time. It can be because he's excited about something. It can be because he just feels like saying it and it's the right time, or there's a big empty space in the conversation and he doesn't know how to proceed with the conversation, so he just inserts that phrase. And he has other phrases that he repeats often just because he likes the sound of them. Chris forgets or mixes up dates and times all the time. Something that I found really interesting is Chris almost never knows the day of the week. He only knows things based on his routines and his routines with the people he works with. So he knows when it's the weekend because our awesome guy Steve is not working on the weekends. So he knows those aren't filming days and he can't get to work with him. That's how Chris knows his routines. He knows the days when they're work days and he knows the non-work days, but otherwise the days of the week and times really don't matter to him.
Cool. We'll see how that worked out. Is today Thursday?
Chris likes to play with words a lot. He likes how certain sounds sound within his mouth or feel within his mouth from what he's explained to me before. For example, he makes up a lot of nicknames that are all starting with the letter B, like Bubs, Berber, Bubblub. He will just make up a B sound and he knows I will respond to it because I know that he must be talking to me. But they're not real words. And a lot of times he has his own vocabulary too. He likes to combine a lot of words into different sounds, and the words make sense, and usually I can figure out what it means, but they're not real words. So it's pretty entertaining too. Something that comes also because Chris has both autism and ADHD is he's constantly in motion. Not only his brain is in motion, but he's moving all the time. So he paces, he likes to move, his leg is twitching a lot. He's also moving certain fingers a lot of the times. He's constantly in movement. So it's kind of funny because you'll be having a conversation with him and suddenly he's walking around the room, or you are not sure if he's actually leaving the room. He's just moving around because that's how he thinks best. But for people who don't know Chris very well, this comes across as very different. And it also makes it challenging if we're out to eat or at a restaurant or something like that where there's not a lot of space to move around. Then he'll be moving a different part of his body, like his foot, his leg, his hands, his fingers, but it's because he's constantly in motion. Something else that Chris does comes with having autism. So he stims a lot, but his stims range from the ones that you hear a lot about for autism, like rocking or pacing, but they also range to his own very unique creations. So for example, as he's mentioned in a video before, he likes to twirl his hair and make a unicorn horn, or he has little antennas that go. But the funniest part about it is he will actually go out with these in public. He'll forget that he has these in. And it doesn't even faze him. He's not even at all embarrassed about it when he figures out later that he's been walking around all day with this giant horn sticking off his head made of hairs. It's pretty entertaining and very special for him too. Chris also is just not really very concerned about things that are often important to other people. So for example, things that might be exact routines for leaving the house, like putting on your shoes, for example, he forgets that sometimes. He goes out, he's walked all the way out of our building before with his bare feet. And it just comes along with having a busy mind, but also the fact that these things just aren't quite as important to him as they might be to other people. He's also gone out with his shirts on backwards, with even a sweatshirt with a hood. He's worn where the hood is in front before, so it's It also can be kind of funny when he actually figures it out sometimes after wearing it like that the entire day. Chris is always talking about ideas, and he has so many creative ideas that really remind me that the way his brain works is completely different a lot of times than the way the brains of neurotypical people might work. So he has ideas, but they're not only ideas about real things, they're ideas about other possible galaxies or other worlds and creations that he would have. For example, if he were to have a castle, what are all the rooms he would have in the castle, but what would he build underground in the castle if he, had complete control over everything and no cost to have to worry about. So those are the kinds of things that are really exciting and fun to hear about, but also conversations that I very rarely have with my friends maybe that are neurotypical and who don't think exactly the same way as Chris. One of the things that I find most special about Chris is the fact that he's still very childlike, which I've also learned is pretty common with a lot of adults who have ASD. It's something that's very magical as a quality. So he likes things, for example, he has his special buddies, which I also have a special buddy, but that's something that we share. But also he's very imaginative with the things that he thinks about. So he might create a fort, or he might have a special scavenger hunt, or he might set up riddles for me to solve, or he loves to play jokes on me, especially things that are going to kind of startle me and make me jump. He's always thinking of new things that are entertaining and make me laugh, sometimes make me a little bit frustrated, especially if I'm carrying something hot and he scares me and I spill it everywhere, but it's also pretty funny. What are some fun things that you know from your friends or family who might have ASD or ADHD or both? Please share in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. One time I caught him talking to his Nidocube, and he didn't know I was around. It was a longer conversation than you might have expected. It was a full-on conversation. But these are pretty cool. I can see why.